Here's what rich teach their children that the poor don't, because the right piece of advice provided early on or at the right time can make a big difference in the long run. As Robert Kiyosaki says, a financially messed up childhood affects you in adulthood. But how exactly to condition a child financially for optimistic future? What do the rich parents know that the poor don't? To find out, I spent the last 15 days pouring the interviews, listening to the talks of high level people, and analyzing the top successful rich kids. And 23 pages of notes later, I discovered that they all follow a common 5 key points formula. This post will walk you through them all. First point is one that's by far the most important and yet also the most overlooked. Number 1. Rich parents teach their children importance of money. They encourage their kids to understand how money works, what is money, how to earn it. They teach them about tax, building and improving credit, budget, good versus bad debt, etc. Discussion about money in the dining table is very common. On the other side of the coin, poor never talks about money. It's a crime to discuss money on the dining table. It's usually a secret how much money the parents earn or how much they spend. Number 2. Money is a tool and it's a good thing. Since I remember, I always felt bad for wanting to make money. There was an unconscious stigma that it was an evil thing to do. This mindset was ingrained in my mind by my parents. Let's be pretty honest. They were with poor mindset. But what risk is their children on other side? Don't feel bad for wanting to make money. It is the tool that allows you to fulfill your basic needs. It is a necessity for survival. Most people reject the need, not want, for money and lock themselves into a narrow-minded existence. Money is a tool to solve problems. Don't hate it. Number 3. Mindset. Let me elaborate this point by giving the context of Rich Dad Poor Dad, written by Robert Kiyosaki. Robert says, my two dads had opposing attitudes and that affected the way they thought. One dad thought that the rich should pay more in taxes to take care of those less fortune. The other said taxes punish those who produce and reward those who don't produce. One dad recommended study hard so you can find a good company to work for. The other recommended study hard so you can find a good company to buy. One dad said the reason I am not rich is because I have you kids. The other said the reason I must be rich is because I have you kids. One said when it's come to money, play it safe, don't take risk. The other said learn to manage risk. One dad taught me how to write an impressive resume so I could find a good job. The other taught me how to write strong business and financial plans so I could create jobs. This is worth repeating. One dad taught me how to write an impressive resume so I could find a good job. The other taught me how to write strong business and financial plans so I could create jobs. As Buddha says, you are what you think. Poor dad always said, I will never be rich, and that prophecy became reality. Rich dad, on the other hand, always referred to himself as rich. He would say things like, I am a rich man and rich people don't do this, even after a major financial setback. Poor dad was poor not because of the amount of money he earned, which was significant, but because of his thought, action and mindset. Likewise, same mindset is passed by them to their offspring, which shape their financial future. Number 4. Assets versus liability. I remember a analogy. If you give $1,000 to a poor, he will end up with a iPhone X. But if the same is given to the rich, he will increase it by 10x because rich will invest it. This is the difference between assets and liability, which is one of the fundamental concepts that is taught by the rich household to their child. Assets make you money, liability cost you money. Rich encourage their child to create as much as assets possible. On the other side of the coin, poor and middle class household parents can't properly differentiate between assets and liability. For example, majority poor and middle class believe our home is our largest investment and our greatest asset. No, it is not. Your house is a liability, and if you think your house is your largest investment, you are in a big trouble, my friend. Some other example of assets are inventory, building, equipment and cash. And the other example of assets might include unpaid bills, outstanding loan balance and credit card balance. Number 5. Flashy lifestyle. Rich parents always teach their child the goal is to be rich, not to look rich. Look at Warren Buffett. No one ever sees a brand on his suit. He eats really cheap and he lives in the very first home he brought. Yet look how rich he is. Wealth is quiet, rich is loud, and the poor is flashy. Some of the richest people I have ever met look incredibly poor. One wealthy startup investor I know famously drives a 1992 Ford station wagon and wears t-shirt with rips in them that weren't made by Target as a fashion statement, cause I say earlier, the goal of wealthy people is to be rich, not to look rich. But I'm not saying that you should always look poor, even though you have money. And you might question, there are lots of wealthy people in this world who use luxury brands and they are actual wealthy deep inside. Remember, my friend, the assets pay for the luxury of the rich people, monthly paycheck pay for the luxury of the poor people. To act like Instagram isn't ingrained in humanity at this point is foolish. Luxury watches and flashy lifestyle has been a culture. Thanks to it, it is the real scamdemic. People work the job they hate to buy things they don't need, to impress people they don't like or who don't give a fuck about them. Poor and middle class are influenced by the luxury lifestyle of the internet, but they don't know is that majority luxury life content is fake. The cars are rented, so are the homes, and the holidays are fake too. The challenge of being more flashy than need is like a drug, and it's hard to get out of this. Because of this, poor and middle class accumulate tons of debt in his head and remains poor. It sucks a lot of life from their paycheck. Poor people luxury lifestyle may look good from the outside but is hollow from the inside. So what risk is their child is? If you desire a luxury item son, you should establish an asset capable of covering its cost. Number 6. Stop expecting immediate results and avoid magical thinking. As humans, we are hardwired to prefer instant gratification to the delayed gratification. From an evolutionary perspective, and many elements of today's people, financial habit reinforce these behaviors. However, indulging in this desire too frequently or teach in certain ways can cause problem for people. Wealthy always teach its child every overnight success takes about 10 years. As Alex Hormozy says, anything worth doing takes exceptionally longer than you expected to, and until you have worked 1,000 hours on one single project, you don't even understand the amount of work that it takes to make something great, and by extension, why you can really not do many things at all if you want them to be worth doing. Remember, my friend, if you are working on something, you need patience in order to make it work. Patience is bitter, but its fruit is sweet. Number 7. There is always more money in this world. Poor people think there is a limited amount of money. They are stuck in this limiting belief. They haven't allowed their identity to be challenged with the challenging landscape. Their mind still lives in a time when it was smart to go to school, get a job, and work until you die with the possibility of a good retirement. But the rich knows there are endless chances and unlimited money in this world. Please note it down. There is always more money out there for those who are willing to go after it. Thanks for watching.